this banner in when it goes live. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited to be here today. I'm going to add our little banner here so you can see that we are here with April. And April runs a ministry. Her and her team run a ministry called Homefront Heroes. This is something that is very near to my heart as a Army brat turned Army wife and now a Coast Guard wife. The military is all I've actually ever known. It is my comfort zone. And being outside of it makes me feel all sweaty because I don't know what to do out there without the military. But April, I'm really excited to have you here to tell us about this amazing ministry and that you're going to just be able to talk us through what y'all do. So April, tell us, if you can, just start us off with what is Homefront Heroes? Like, if I've never heard of Homefront Heroes, what is it?
Yeah, well, first, Julia, thank you so much for taking the time to invite me on. So any day that I can talk ministry and hang out with you is a great day. So thank you. So Homefront Heroes Ministries, we are a ministry specifically for the military wife. We feel like there's so many resources out there for the soldier, for the military family, and even for the woman, but we felt like there was a gap in resources available specifically for the military wife. And so we wanted to talk into those struggles that we deal with as military wives, walking out deployments, frequent moves, just building our lives from the ground up over and over and over again. Right. And there's so many things that we walk out that we can't always connect with others through. And so we want to provide a place that women could come, that they can be encouraged in a positive way, that they aren't alone, that there are others in this journey together, that others are also struggling. But we also find it very important to do that through the lens of our faith. And I'm encouraging military wives that specifically are hurting, they're unconnected, whether that's through community or a body of faith, and they're just lost trying to find their way. And so that is really the groundwork of what we're doing at Homefront Heroes, to reach those military wives.
Well, when you say that you're trying to find a framework or connect it through faith, what does that actually look like for y'all? When you're connecting these military wives to faith, are all of the military wives that you're helping immediately have a faith-based concept, or are some people just kind of like, hey, I need a place to call home? What does that look like for y'all?
Yeah, so this is very much the heart of our ministry. We found that there was a really big gap in our military wife community between military wives that were not connected at all to a faith. They were not attending chapel, any of the military wife ministries like PWOC, and then there was the ones that were. And so there was a big gap there between the two. And we wanted to specifically reach into our community to those military wives that were not connected to a body of faith and be that bridge to introduce faith to them. Everything that we do through Homefront Heroes, all the faith conversations, we kind of come from the bottom up. We want to meet that military wife, whether she's a longtime believer or doesn't have any faith at all. We want to speak into that to encourage her with basic truth that she is loved, that God is with her, that he has good plans for her, that he wants to walk this journey with her. And through that, help her kind of break down so many misconceptions that we all have about who Christ is and what that relationship with him looks like. And then being that bridge so that they can take those steps to join a church or join a Bible study or attend PWOC or any of these wonderful programs that are available. But we are specifically that bridge for them.
And for our friends that don't know what PWOC is, the Army lifestyle is to know acronyms. We love them.
Yes, and we speak them all the time like they're nothing, don't we?
That's right. It is a language that you learn within the military. I still remember that the parking lots, you have general officers, you have different ones. And I parked there in high school. And I remember the MP telling me I could not park there. And I said, well, generally my dad is an officer. And he was like, yeah, that does not work, right? We have all these acronyms, but PWOC stands for Protestant Women at the Chapel. And it's an amazing organization that works like a tiny organization within the chapels. And it helps women to connect to Bible studies. Every time they move, they can roll into the chapel on base and they can connect to a Bible study. But April, you're talking about that's not always where every woman that's come from a different walk of life is going to find a home. And so you're saying that Homefront Heroes is trying to bridge that gap of having a place that maybe you don't walk straight into a Bible study, and yet you still need God in the circumstances. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And we are all on our own journey. And I know there was a time where even I didn't feel like I belonged in a women's Bible study. I felt like my past was too messy, or that I had, that I wasn't just polished and put together, and I didn't have the biblical knowledge to walk into a Bible study. And we know that for a lot of our military wives, are coming from all different kinds of backgrounds. They may not feel qualified to just walk into, and not that they are, and never that these Bible studies ever represent that, but there is that fear. And so we just want to, like I said, bridge that gap where we can say, you can come whether you are a believer or not. If you don't have any faith whatsoever, you're welcome at our table. And we just want to love you. And we want to provide a positive place. There's so many negative outlets out there, especially in the military wife community. I mean, you can go and complain about anything if you want to. You can always find the conversations happening about how hard the life is, but we want to do something different and be a positive place. And for us, that means bringing in Christ into those conversations in a way that is just easy and real and authentic.
Isn't that honestly the heart of the gospel?
Yes, absolutely.
That you belong. That you have a place that you belong. I love that. Can you tell me, April, so when y'all do this, what does it look like? Do you have meetings, like weekly meetings? What does this look like? Where does Homefront, if I'm a military wife, I have a friend that I actually saw on Facebook that tagged her daughter, who I think got married last month, to a soldier. I love those early days. And so how could she find y'all? Where would she go?
Yeah, so we are now a global nonprofit organization. And so we are growing all of our different outlets. So if there is a social media outlet, we are likely there. One of our biggest platforms is through Facebook. Just Facebook, search us. Homefront Heroes Ministries. You'll find us on Instagram. You'll find our website at homefrontheroes.org. And our newest platform is we now have a podcast called Hope on the Homefront, which we are so excited about, because this is where we are actually taking our girl deeper. We have a platform that we can take those 20 minutes and we can actually dig into biblical topics that directly relate back to the military wife life, but digging into scripture and seeing what God says about that and where that's found in the Bible. Our most recent episode, we launch one every Tuesday, is actually about the fruit of the Spirit and how we live that through as military wives. And I mean, even for me, I have something wonderful to take away from it every time. Our podcast leader her name's Taylor, and she is amazing and just a gift to all of us. And so our podcast at Hope on the Homefront is a really wonderful resource. And then also we are building community group locations. We see the value in being online and being able to meet through these social media platforms, but there is no replacement for being in person. And so we are growing our locations, but of course that takes time, finding the right leaders for those locations. We currently have a location at Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Stewart, Georgia, Norfolk, Virginia, which is our first Navy focused Homefront Heroes. We have one in Northwest Florida, Homefront Heroes at 7th Group. And then we have a community group, private group for all Reserve, National Guard, and reservist wives, so they can connect all over the country, specifically for that need as well.
Oh, awesome. So I feel like I'm getting feedback on you. Maybe that fixed it. Okay. It feels like it's getting feedback on you. Okay. So my question that I want to ask you is, what would you say is one of your top topics for a military wife? Like if you had a Facebook post that you would say, this is our top issue. That if we throw this up, we're going to have so many women interacting and talking because it's such a common thing that women need to connect over in the military.
Wow, that's really hard because we do talk about a lot of different areas of the military wife life. I think the most common theme that you will hear from us is that you are never alone. And I think that the military wife, she feels alone. A lot of them feel alone. They move to a new location and they have to start all over. They have to find their people. They have to find a new dentist. They have to find all these things and try to navigate life while oftentimes their husbands are away at schools, they're in the field training, they're deploying again. And so this overall concept of you're never alone is something that we talk about a lot. And letting her know that it is okay to feel that way, but there is a community of military wives that are right there with you. And even though we can't physically wrap our arms around you, we're there walking out this journey with you. And then also that God is with you, and that even when we can't be there, that He is with you all the time, a constant comfort in those dark places at late at night, and when you're in the shower, and when you're driving, and when you're tired, and when you're overwhelmed and weary, that you truly are never alone because God is always with you. And so that is always a very big topic that you'll hear that really covers a lot of different topics. But of course, marriage is also a very big focus for us as well, in talking into the military marriage, because there's so many that are struggling, husbands that are, wrestling and overcoming things like PTSD. They're dealing with communication issues because deployment upon deployment, or heartache and forgiveness issues. And there's so many different topics that we want to say that God can be a part of this healing process for you. Once again, you are never alone, but we want to talk into your marriage struggles and let you know that there is a better way, and that God can heal and restore even the most broken of marriages.
I think that's a great point that I know that a lot of us can overlook that. We have actually, for our age group, April, we have never known the military without war. And like my dad was in the military 30 something years and, had certain things happen, conflicts happen. But since for instance, my family joined the military, we have been a military at war. So that uptake, like that level of go for these guys and these families, you think about, Jeremy and I have been in for 18 years now, and it has been deployment, move. And that has actually, you don't stop and think about the amount of stress that you get used to. It's like something that like literally is over your entire life, but it's so common. It's just what it is that you just keep moving through it. And so I think it's wonderful to stop and realize, hey, we are dealing with a military that is really in the last 18, actually 20 years, not known not going to war, and that people are still deploying and redeploying, and how that affects the family. And so you're giving a space for these women to be connected to each other, which is what going back to, you said, like, you belong, like you have a place here. You're not by yourself. Do you know statistically, and you may not, I'm just going to ask you, what do military marriages statistically look like? Do you know how we're doing in the military as far as stats go for divorce?
So I have done a little research on that, and honestly, I was a little surprised that they weren't too different from the secular marriage.
Okay, yeah, that is surprising.
I know, and I was like, maybe I should do more research, because I thought that it would be astronomically higher. But the least of research that I was given, that I was able to say, it did seem very similar, 40, 50 percentile of marriages would end in divorce, which in itself is horrible.
Yes.
We never want that to happen, in our marriage, and we definitely, but that is the reality of a lot of marriages. I think what at least we have seen is that maybe marriages aren't necessarily ending, but the internal struggles that are happening inside those four walls of their home are just as heartbreaking. They're detrimental to the wellness and of the individuals in that marriage as well. So maybe not seeing a drastic difference, and I probably want to go back and research that some more, but at least what I was seeing was very similar, but that's not ignoring the unique struggles that military marriages are facing on a regular basis.
Amen. And so I want to read a quote from your Facebook page, just to give women out there and husbands, if you're listening as well, to kind of say, hey, this is out there and available for you. Homefront Heroes Ministries Facebook page constantly has new articles up, different, just hitting at, as April said, the myriad of just life issues that are happening for the military wife and the military family. But I wanted to read this one because as an Army wife, this really touched me. It says, he'll never understand the weight of managing an entire household alone. I mean, just that opening line as a military wife. I mean, both of you, I'm sure both of us could kind of get teary-eyed right now because
Absolutely.
you literally read that line and you go to those dark moments that as moms, you're running an entire household, you're running kids, the phone calls are coming in, and you want to be like light and airy when he calls, but you're like, the truth is we're falling apart today. And he's not there, like all of these dynamics. But it goes on. If you jump down, she's your post says, I'll never understand what it means to leave an empty chair. Trying to decide whose weight is heavier will only cause division in your marriage. So it starts with this version of the wife saying, like, he'll never understand what I'm doing. But then him saying, you never understand what it takes for me to leave again and again. And it says, trying to decide whose weight is heavier will only cause division in your marriage. I know it's hard, military wife. I know you because I am you. But when we recognize the weight that we are both carrying, we speak life back into our husbands. What an amazing post of truth to bring perspective to the hard issues of separation, of toil and weight that the military wife and the soldier both carry. I just love that y'all are doing that. And I wanted to point people to your Facebook page because I read that and it's like a breath of fresh air.
Thank
you. I
you.
love that. Yeah, that y'all are doing that and bringing that. Can you tell me, what does Homefront Heroes, because goodness gracious, it's COVID world, right?
Yes.
So what are y'all doing right now? What's your future plans? Where is Homefront Heroes going in y'all's plans?
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is what excites me the most. So we are a relatively new ministry. We launched in October of 2019 officially. We had been a small deployment group out of Fort Riley, Kansas before then, but we launched Homefront Heroes Ministries in October of 2019. And so we are still very much growing, but God has just poured out his blessings on this ministry. And so we are so excited. Right now, our biggest focus, to be honest, is just building systems and processes behind the scenes. We were able to expand to 3 different locations. In the past year and through 2020, we were able to grow our team by 9 additional members.
To do all of that in 2020 is a feat in and of itself.
While at a pandemic, during that time, we had Haley, one of our founders, she had twins. I moved across the country to Florida, and then Ashley moved to Germany. And so during that time, we still were able to do that. But right now, we thought, okay, for right now, we need to take some time behind the scenes. We're building systems, we're building processes. We're also planning to continue to grow. We have really capped out what we can already do in our own manpower. And so we're going to be adding on additional opportunities for women to come alongside us and serve. And so actually, by the middle of this month, we're going to be putting out onto our social media platforms positions that are going to be opening up for military wives that are ready to serve, ready to pour into the military wife community. That is a big passion of ours. We don't just want to pour into, but we also want to empower military wives that have these callings for speaking, writing, encouraging, leading, praying. And so if these women are ready, then we're going to be opening up some opportunities for them to be serving. we also we're going to be we currently have our nonprofit status under the umbrella of an organization called the Armed Forces Foundation.
Okay.
They have been a wonderful bridge really for us to kind of step into that nonprofit world. But we are ready to take that step to become our own 501c3. That opens up a lot of extra opportunities for funding and growing and connecting with different organizations. And so we are working on that. We're going to be growing our locations. Our goal is to add 3 more additional locations. We would love to see a Marine Corps Homefront Heroes started this year. We have the Navy. We're really ministering to the Air Force and Army here in Florida, but we haven't been able to meet that need for the Marine Corps yet. So,
and don't forget, there is the Coast Guard out there.
And the Coast Guard, yes. Oh, Julia. Yes, absolutely. And that is, there's so many different branches of our military service. And so we want to make sure that we are building strong roots and making sure that before we grow too big, that we have the systems in place and the training. And then most importantly, we are so excited that we are building resources. In addition to our social media platforms, it's very important that we put out additional books, Bible studies, and things like that so that our community groups can truly thrive and that our military wives at home have something they can hold on to. And so we are in preparations for publishing our first book. Ashley Beasley, one of our founders, has written this amazing book on transformation through the lens of a military wife. And so we are working on taking those steps to get that published. We are also, I'm working on a video series that we can use at different community group locations, so where they can have the video series, they can have a skeleton outline to kind of give our community group leaders additional support as they lead their groups. And so we are just working a lot of different avenues, but just really growing and building our team beneath us. It's really exciting time to be a part of Homefront Heroes.
I love everything that you're doing. It's wonderful.
Thank you. I love it so much. And we just continue to pray that we just continue to reach more and more military wives that are needing that support right where they are.
Awesome. Well, okay. So I'm going to put on the, on our comments, all of the places that y'all are. We're going to try to load up your, so those that are wanting more information about Homefront Heroes, April, we're going to go ahead and post all of your stuff. If you can help me kind of put in your website or your Facebook in the comments so that people can click on those.
Absolutely.
And is there a way, let's say they're not military at all and they're listening to this, but they'd like to be a part of your ministry. Is there a way that people can join in and partner with you?
Oh, absolutely. We are always looking to partner and with others, and we're not limiting that to military affiliated people or organizations. And so please check out our website. You can read all about us, a little bit more detail about our past and what we're doing, but also how to connect with us. And so you can also email us at info@homefrontheroes.org. That's a great way. We would love to talk with you more. And really, we love your prayers. And we would love to talk to you more about that, but absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, April, for all the work that you're doing. And I, as a military wife, I'm so happy to know that Homefront Heroes is out here praying for us and just putting together this amazing ministry that reaches so many lives. Because when you affect the wife, you are really reaching the entire family of the military wife. And so I just see your ministry extremely far reaching. And I pray that the Lord continues to multiply the work of your hands, because I really do believe that this is an amazing opportunity from the Father that wants to reach women and their families. So thank you, April.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. It was a joy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to do a follow-up with you and hear a little bit more, maybe in a couple months, to see what y'all are doing.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that.
Awesome. Thanks, April.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.